Hey everybody, PSW 60
Mag
back.
60.
PS Mag 60 back for more Turok Dinosaur Hunter. And we were about to set foot in this graveyard when we last left our intrepid hero. It's not really any more complicated than the previous graveyard was, but thankfully it's a lot better to see in. Which means we can see these 10 healths that we're probably going to badly need. Same setup as before. There's Lords of the Dead wandering around. Once we take all of them out, we get the opportunity to spawn the Sister of Despair. And I have apparently just kind of given up on any hope of dodging these guys. Well, considering we've got some quick spawning health, taking loads of damage to the face isn't really the worst thing that could happen to us in here. I mean, at the very least we can see where the health is respawning at this time. Now, if only I could see where I'm aiming. Because the only excuse I have for missing about 5 shots in a row is I am now legally blind. It's time for a refill. In this Romero nightmare. And with the third Lord of the Dead, dead, again, we get to see the sister's other attacks. She's got that little AoE attack that we didn't get to see last time, which is that little blue sphere. As well as a fireball that, well, we also didn't get to see. Thankfully, she still doesn't really have any health. It'd be kinda nice if it despawned all the zombies in the area after the Sister of Despair was destroyed, so that at the very least we could stop taking little tiny bits of residual damage. And if you'd notice something, there's no portal out of here. It's not back the way we came. So instead we're gonna go where the Sister of Despair spawned at, and make our way back to the catacomb style area. Back up the ladder towards a couple of spiders that didn't really seem to care much about us, actually. I guess we just kind of stomped on some wildlife. I feel a little bad about that one. I'm over it. Ooh, what are you?
Tranquilizer.
Well, we get a new toy to play with. Now, as you'd expect from the name, the tranquilizer gun shoots tranquilizers. The tranquilizer gun doesn't actually kill anything. Instead, it just puts stuff to sleep. And not even for a very long time at that.
Full health.
If I call any weapon useless in this game, it's probably going to be the tranquilizer gun. Wait, isn't this back where we dropped in here at? I guess it just leads in a circle. The tranquilizer gun isn't really... It's something that'll really only help you save some ammo for other guns. I mean, the tranquilizer itself doesn't really do anything other than put them to sleep, and you have pretty much exactly enough time to switch to your warblade and take them out with a melee weapon. When instead you could just put a couple of bullets from whatever your favorite gun happens to be into them and take them out that way. Personally, I'd rather just go for the direct approach. And like most guns, tranquilizers are more effective if you shoot them in the head rather than the butt. But we can at least wake that guy up in one of the most spectacular ways possible. Seems like he's awake now, considering he stood up at least, right? This little vantage point doesn't really seem to serve any purpose other than showing you that there's life forces down there. It's kind of nice foreshadowing, because there isn't much of a way that you'd see it otherwise unless you just happen to decide you wanted to look over the edge. Whoa. Was that half of the leaper missing? Yeah, the death animations in this are just so varied. Little touches like that just offer it a grim kind of beauty. Huh. I figured there'd be more spiders in these pools. Yep, there's one. Oh, maybe there's, Oh, this one goes down a little bit deeper than the other ones did. But those life forces kind of seem to indicate that that way's progress. So we'll come back to that in a little bit. And let's see what's down this way instead. Oh hey, we're back at the entrance. Yeah, this is where we came into this area at from the aqueducts looking place. Let's see if we can... Oh.
I am Turok!
I was hoping to take that guy out in the air, but... No, that didn't really work in our favor, I guess. Oh well. You win some, you lose some, right? Now, this one's got life forces too. I guess they're both some kind of progress. Let's go back and see what was under the water first, considering that this way's a little bit more hidden, so it's more likely that whatever's back this way is going to be some form of optional content, or at the very least, is not going to be walking further into the level. And it's our key. Well, we're still down the life. Or rather... Oh. Well... Oh, respawning... thing. If you hadn't noticed what had happened before... Whereas Turok 1 would stop the life force counter after it got to 9 lives and 99 life forces, and then just reward us with infinite lives. Turok 2 doesn't really do that. Instead, what we get from Turok 2 is it'll let us pick up enough life forces to go beyond 99 life force tokens. But once we're past 9 lives, it doesn't actually bump the life counter up by another one. It's possible that it still keeps track of those lives beyond what the counter can display. But I was fairly certain that at this point in video game development, you didn't really have that issue where the life counter had to stop at 9. Though there are some older games that did keep track of it past 99, or past 9 lives. I'm gonna guess Turok is not one of those games. Not really a big deal considering that 9 lives is plenty to get through this game. And there's enough life force tokens that you could pretty easily make up for most of the lives that you'd lose. Yeah, haven't seen you for a little while. Only one of them seems to have noticed us, though. Oh, there we go. Nothing quite gets the attention of something like murdering one of its friends. Oh, and there's more of them. Get Warblade. Thank you. As much as I love the how you select weapons in Turok 2, sometimes it'll argue with you. And invisibility doesn't really work too well if you go invisible while I'm staring at you.
Tranquilizer.
There are a couple of tranquilizer guns on this level. We've seen at least 2, and we've picked up both of them. But there's a bug that existed in these early copies of Turok 2. And by early copies, I mean all of the copies on the N64. In that we can't pick up more ammo for the tranquilizer gun without picking up another tranquilizer gun. And I'll explain why in a little bit. For now, we can take a look at our surroundings, as this is more or less the last hub-style area of the level. And whereas level 1, the Port of Adia, had us more or less going in a pretty straight linear fashion from start to finish, the River of Souls has a couple of different branching paths that we can go down. And this area is where most of the rest of those branches meet up at. And I'm trying to find the switch to open that warp portal, but it doesn't seem to be over here. That is why we can't get ammo for the tranquilizer gun. The ammo spawners won't try to spawn ammo for it, and although that was ammo for the tranquilizer gun, it's glitched to instead give us ammo for the charged dart rifle. We're not going to see the charged dart rifle for another 2 levels, I believe. So we don't really even get to play around with the tranquilizer gun much. Kind of a shame, I guess, but the tranquilizer gun's not especially useful to begin with. Guess we need to try to get up there at some point. I'm not really sure what's... Oh, there we go. And there's our warp portal switch.
Warp portal activated.
I'm going to guess that that's the warp portal for... Yeah, they're not giving up in this last leg of this level. I'm going to guess that that's the warp portal for the talisman chamber for this level, considering that we've already seen the flesh talisman portal a very long time ago. I mean, they wouldn't give us two portals for the flesh, two flesh portals in the same level, right? I don't really remember a claim being that mean. Oops. Well, I'd intended on jumping there. Since we're down here, we might as well see what's in the water. Nothing that way. And just some life force tokens back this way, which we hardly need considering that we're at max lives and then some. Let's see what we've got waiting for us. Yep, talisman chamber. But we still don't have an eagle feather. So there's not really anything that we can do in there. Now we could see the last of the... Oh man, a lot of these guys respawn over here. Guess two of them just tried to go invisible. Wait, where's the other entrail? Must be somewhere up top. Oh well. Over by the... Oh, there he is. Okay. If you look in the bottom right corner of the screen as we were going over that bridge, you'll just barely notice a save point. I did not notice that save point. And I probably won't notice that save point for probably about a half an hour or so. As a result, I start to get very, very reckless in this level. Because it was around here that I'd say it was the 2-hour mark of me playing without saving. I was starting to get anxious and panic a bit. And what I'd started saying earlier is if you'd noticed up above the talisman portal back there, we could see the gate marking the teleporter to the last graveyard. And that last graveyard is up at the top of this ramp. Making it, at the very least, pretty easy to find compared to the other, the last graveyard that we found. Or the first one. Oh hey, it's our first eagle feather.
You have found a sacred eagle feather.
Well, we can sacrifice it in one of the talisman chambers at least now. Now let's see if we can exhaust what's over here before we go and turn in our feather. I wonder if maybe we could have tricked it with a seagull feather? I mean, I've taken out enough seagulls, and I really haven't seen an eagle at all. So I'm gonna guess that's a no. And maybe eagles are not actually part of the Lost Land. Maybe the eagle feathers are something that the Turoks bring with them to the Lost Land? I don't really know, it's hard to tell. You know, considering that we haven't seen an eagle ever. We just kind of have their feathers. Maybe this is kind of like... Maybe this is kind of like they bought it at a gift shop. And they just kind of left the eagle feather laying around. They just kind of wanted it back. Well, we'll find out next time when we go to turn it in. Till then, good hunting.